Alright, I'm going to show you guys how to clear and make your handgun safe. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys know that there is a round in the chamber. The magazine has rounds in it. So I'm just going to show you real quick how some people clear their handgun. And then I'm going to ask you if you think the gun is safe or if it's unsafe. Alright, so what people are going to do now, like I said, I have a round in the chamber. So we're going to get rid of that round in the chamber, right? Alright, the round is out of the chamber. So now what we're going to do is pop the magazine, right? So that's it. We think the gun's clear, right? Do you think the gun's clear? If you think the gun's clear, you need to continue watching this video because there's actually a round in the chamber. So now we have two rounds that we pulled out of the chamber, and we have this magazine here. So how did that happen? Well, you need to understand the way one of these handguns work. All right, so you have a magazine, right? Your magazine has a spring in it, and there's a whole bunch of rounds loaded down into this magazine. You see, when you cock the slide back, let it go, what you're actually doing is, just picture this in the gun now. You have your rounds up here. Now what you're going to do is when this slide is being cocked back, you're going over the magazine, and then on the slide's return forward, it's going to strip a round out of the magazine, loading it into your chamber. Alright, so does that make sense? Every time you cock this back, on its return forward, it's going to strip a round out of the magazine and put it in the chamber. So that's the problem. A lot of people forget, they don't realize that that's what's happening. So the first step you're always going to do when handling any gun, the first step you're going to do is keep your finger off the trigger. It's just good to always do this right here. Don't ever put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to pull it. That's only step one. Don't ever touch the trigger. Step two is going to be to release the magazine. You have to get rid of the rounds that are in there. And now if there's a round in the chamber, when you rack the slide back, that live round would eject out the side, would safely eject out the chamber. So what you need to remember is the first thing is going to be to pop the magazine out because that's what holds your rounds. If the first thing you do is rack the slide back, clear the chamber, when you release it forward, you just took another round out of the magazine and put it in your chamber. So you're going to pop the magazine out and you're going to be like, all right, I just cleared the gun. Meanwhile, in reality, there's still a round in the chamber. So you have to release the magazine first, then rack it back. And if your gun was functioning properly, your extractor was functioning properly, if there was a live round in here right now, it would safely eject out the side. But you could always just look inside and visually inspect. If you don't see the back of a round sitting out there, sitting in your chamber is obviously the area right where the barrel starts. So let me just go over this one last time to make sure everyone's correct here. We have another live or fully loaded with one in the chamber handgun. Alright, so what we did the last time, the first step we did was pulled the slide back, right, to clear the chamber. That was wrong. We don't want to do that. First step we're going to do is find the magazine release. Most semi-automatic handguns for right-hand shooters, it's going to be right around where your thumb is going to be if you're gripping it with your right hand. You're going to push that button in and release the magazine. Alright, so now we cleared the magazine. The magazine is basically like your holding area for the rounds. They're waiting to enter, the part where the action happens. So now the second step we're going to do is to clear the chamber. You do so by pulling the slide back, releasing the live round out. And now what most people do is they'll do it a couple times just to make sure everything's good. And now the final step, once you know for sure it's clear, the proper way to keep this would be to pull the slide all the way back and pull up your slide release tab. And this way, you're visually, to everybody that's around, you're visually clear. You can see you don't have the magazine in it. You do that with this one as well. This one is a little different style than the Glock. What you need to do is just pull it back and just pull the tab up and let it catch. So pull it back, pull the tab up, let it come forward and catch, and you're good. Now it shows that this gun is clear. So now what would happen, you might have a question, what if you put the magazine in here right now? What would happen? If you release the slide lock tab and this comes forward, you're gonna load the gun again. You're gonna put another round in the chamber. So if you had that question, that'll answer that question. So technically, when it's locked back like this to show it's safe, you don't want to put a loaded magazine back in there. Just keep that out, keep it to the side. Most ranges, or maybe not most, but a lot of times when you go to a shooting range, when you enter, they're going to want you to bring in your firearm in this state right here, in this condition, where it's visibly to everybody clear. So if you've never been to a shooting range before and you plan on going, before you put this in your case, make sure you make it look like this right here. But if you guys have any questions on this or anything, or if I was unclear on something, just don't hesitate to comment. Just if you're ever unsure of something, just leave it alone and don't touch it. It's better to be safe than sorry.